In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 steps to mixing your beats and getting them sounding crispy. I did this video on my main channel years ago. There might be some updates, so here we go. I just made this beat in the last video. If you want to know how to sample. So we have a sample. It's a pretty grimy sample that... And then we have very simple hi-hat, snare, kick, 808, and it's like, we don't even need any more than that. And then we have like the little intro. I did some minor little adjustments as I was making the beat. Like I did a little drip and a little simple EQ. I'll show you those in a second. First thing we're gonna do is organize the tracks. So if you have all this in like pattern 1, you can come over to this pattern picker and right click on it and then split by channel. That's gonna split it like this. And then if you wanna make it look beautiful, you can click on the first one, hold shift, and click on these, and then right click on all of them, and either pick a random color, and then they'll all be, you know, looking great. If we come into the channel rack and click unsorted, it's gonna select everything other than this intro melody right here. I don't wanna add any of these other sample loops that I was messing around with. So what we're gonna do, come in here, left click on this. This is gonna select all the tracks, and I'm gonna come down to here. Let's color it for fun. That's the first color, and then the last color, green. Oh, that's pretty fire. Let's do that. That makes the beat sound so much better. All right, so step 1, put everything in the mixer track. I've already added this sample to a mixer track by clicking on it and hitting Control L, because I added a little drip to it and an EQ, but all of the rest of these aren't in any tracks, correct? Yes, correct. I'm gonna double click on this, click twice, and I'm gonna right click to unselect that one. And I'm gonna click on this drop down and then assign selected to free mixer tracks. And that's gonna put them all into mixer tracks. And the reason for this is we need to see the sound. We need to add effects and EQ some stuff, that's great too. But we just need to see what's happening right now. This is the original audio from the sample. I'm gonna click on this track and I'm just gonna organize this a little bit. I'm gonna hold Alt and use my arrow key. Boom, boom. That's 1, right? And I'm gonna get all the drums together and I'm gonna get the melody together. This is the sampled sample. I'm gonna click on this, hold Alt, move it to the left. I'm gonna get the kick first and then 808 and then hi-hat. I'm gonna do snare hi-hat. And then we're just gonna loop this part for here. I'm just gonna open this up a little bit more so we can see. I think there's a way to like even make it larger if you really want to. You can view the waveforms if you want by clicking that, but it doesn't really do anything. There's a bunch of different selections here, extra large. I'm just gonna do wide. All right, step 2, level all the sounds, the kicks, the claps, the melodies, the snares, everything you have, get into a good level. And you want to base that around the master, right? So the master is currently hitting below 3 dB. And everything honestly sounds pretty good. If your track is just cranking through the roof, you might need to like turn some of these down and just adjust things leveling wise to get them to sound good. But since they're already good, we don't need to like do any of this just yet, but we will in a second. Step 3, add effects, EQ, anything you need to add if needed. All right, so now I'm gonna go into the loop and show you what I did. I went into the EQ. I just right clicked on the 1, type high pass, order, steep 8, and then type low pass, order, steep 6, steep 8, whatever. You can also scroll up and down to adjust these. The reason I did this is just to cut some of these low frequencies out of the melody and some of the high frequencies out of the melody. This will give room for the 808s, the kicks, and I just liked the effect it had as well. Cutting some of the highs and lows out just made it sound better. I also added drip. This is like a vinyl vintage emulation preset. You don't need drip. You don't need any plugins. This is just what I like to do. I can't show you a video of what I like to do. I don't show you the plugins. I initially added RC20, but I took it off. I think it was too much. So I'm gonna start with the kick. I'm gonna right click on this little dot. It's gonna solo the kick. It honestly sounds pretty good. Let's see the kick in the 808. I'm gonna go into the 808 itself. When you're leveling your tracks, keep in mind that the velocities on the actual piano roll matter, especially with drums. If I turn that up, that's gonna be hitting harder, like you're hitting it on the keyboard harder than if you hit it softer. Like those velocities affect how the note's gonna sound. So just keep that in mind. In the meantime, I'm gonna go into the 808s and I'm gonna click on the velocity and hold shift and just level them all out. And whatever other sounds you want to hit harder or softer, you can do that with as well. So let's hear all the drums together. I think the snare is a little bit too loud for my liking. Some people like crazy snares. Now the 808's a tiny bit too loud. And I'm just gonna go through and level. That sounds pretty good for now. Let's hear the melody. I'm gonna go into the sample itself and I'm gonna do this. Same thing, just turn them all up. Turn the velocities up so it's just hitting harder in the sampler, and I'm gonna turn this down now on the master. On the mixer track, not the master. Now let's just hear them all. You know, some things are preference. Some people want the 808 hitting harder than the kick. Some people like that kick with the 808 kind of coming off of it. Some people like really loud snares. Some people don't. I personally like loud drums in general. I like the kick that hit harder than the 808 on some beats. Depends on the beat. And if you have good drums, you're not gonna need to go through and EQ anything like crazy. Like the main EQs are gonna come in like the melodies and stuff like that. Unless you have a lot of sounds in there, and then you'll need to like tweak some stuff. For example, if the 808 was battling with other sounds, I could come in here, parametric EQ, low pass. This will give room for the hi-hats. The hi-hats sit around here. The snares hit around here. The melodies will hit around the middle and the highs and the lows. Melodies kind of hit everywhere. 808s will sit around here. Kicks will sit around here and here. And a good way to know where things are hitting, if you're new to EQing, is to, let's go into the hi-hat, for example. See, now FL Studio has this little meter showing you where it's hitting. But wherever the darkest lines are usually where it's hitting the hardest. So if you wanted to turn that down for some reason, you can scroll down on the mouse to give you this nice little, and you could just come in here and and FL Studio literally shows you what's happening, which is crazy. So you could turn little frequencies down. If you thought the hi-hat was too high pitched and you just want a little subtle thing, you can do this, low pass. You know, make it subtle. I like the way it sounds. If you don't have good drum sounds, Nightmare free drum kit in the description. All right, this sounds pretty fire. I didn't need to do too much to it. Step 4. Now that we have everything sounding good, you want to make sure it's below -3 dB. Which it is. So if it's not, my tips would be to go back through and just scroll down, adjust sounds, what's too loud, what's not loud enough. There might be parts where you need to strategically EQ things in and out, depending on your beat, what you want to hit, what you don't want to hit. And finally, step 5 is getting it loud. Getting it loud so that artists can listen to it, getting it loud so artists can record to it. If you are posting beats on the internet, it's not a bad thing to master and throw some Maximus on here. If you're just getting this with your tag on it so people can just listen to it and enjoy it, you can go to the master track, open up Maximus, click this top left, presets, clear master, select this master, turn the post up, click this button. But I wouldn't send any beats to an artist like that. That's what you do at the end of the song. You know, some artists will just record on an MP3 or a wave. So if you're sending beats like that and it's already mastered, it's gonna screw up the sound. You want it just level. The other thing you can do is throw Fruity Limiter on there. I know some people use Soft Clipper and stuff. You don't really need Soft Clipper. I think that's a force sometimes. So open Fruity Limiter, turn down the sustain, the release, the attack, turn up the ceiling to the top. Let's press play. I'm just gonna turn the gain up. And And as you can see, it's clipping way over 0 dB, so we can just turn the soft saturation threshold down a little bit. And the final step after step 5. Oh, you guys didn't know there's a step after step 5. The 808 is a little quiet for me. I'm gonna add Spaz. It's a free plugin from 2Clicks. The Ace preset. The Ace preset is insane. And there you go, there's the 5 steps to mixing your beats. I hope I did a good job explaining it and didn't move over things too fast or too slow. Subscribe because I want you to. See you in the next one. Goodbye.